Welcome back to Am I Famous Yet? Memoir of a Working Class Rock Star. This is called Chapter 12, What is a Rock Star? Rock star is a term that gets thrown around too casually these days, in my opinion. It's now possible to be a so-called rock star businessman or rock star plumber. While there is certainly eminent dignity in being a plumber, being branded the rock star version of any particular vocation is not the same thing as being an actual rock star. But what is a rock star? At its core, rock stardom implies fame and fortune acquired by a singer or musician through the medium of popular music. Beyond these basic assumptions are also implications of celebrity and adoration gained from talent, creativity, panache, artistry, and fashion sense. Rock stardom is acquired and maintained through repeated appearance on radio, television, movies, music videos, world tours, newspapers, magazines, blogs, and social media. Along with all of this comes groupies, sex, drugs, trashed hotel rooms, and never-ending world tours on luxury buses and private planes. Let us not also forget the stereotypical long hair and bad boy reputation. By all of these qualifications, it turns out that I am an actual rock star. Except for the pesky fame and fortune part. I have toured some of the world's most famous concert stages, appeared in all manner and nature of mass media, received adoration from rabid fans, and been paid large sums of money for my work. I should probably qualify all of that a bit. I have indeed done all of those things, but in limited quantities and at separate times. For instance, I've had one or two gigs in my life that paid me $2,000 or more in a single night. If you have 200 such gigs a year, for instance, you could make $400,000 in that year, which is a lot of money. Is it rock star money? It's not cliche rock star money, though I do know more than a few actual rock stars and Hall of Famers who would be thrilled with this level of income, especially over time. Like I said, this level of compensation has only graced me a small handful of times. Each time the pay for the single night of work involved weeks of musical transcriptions, writing charts, practice, and preparation. Add to this the hours and hours of often international travel to the venue, days of rehearsal, and about 90 minutes on a concert stage at the end of it all. Occasionally, I try to work out an average hourly wage based on the amount of time I put on any given gig. Even discounting the travel time, it turns out that I am working cheap. The bass player in the old National Lampoon Mr. Rodgers sketch was right all along. There are some gigs where afterwards there's a meet and greet or a stage door scene. Fans will be waiting for the performers to exit the building to sign autographs and take pictures. I've been photographed and have signed programs and playbills countless times. It makes me smile every time it happens, not only because it's fun to have the attention, but especially because I know that once I walk about 100 yards from the theater, I will have sunk back into a total obscurity again. I'm only a rock star from the stage door to the corner of 44th Street and 8th Avenue. Once I turn that corner, I'm back to being just another schmo on the subway train back to Brooklyn. TV, movies, radio, video, newspapers, magazines, social media. Yep, been there and done them all to one extent or another. Have you heard of me? Has your grandmother heard of me? Probably not. Sex and drugs? More drugs than sex get offered. I always turn them down, not being a user. Trashed hotel rooms? Well, one time I stole a particularly cool Do Not Disturb sign from a boutique hotel that said, "Leave me alone." They ended up charging my credit card $10 for it. So what does that make me? I guess I'm more of a working class rock star. An hourly wage earner, humping my own gear and slogging all over creation to try to earn a peso. Instead of coveralls with my name on a patch over the left breast, I often wear a bargain tuxedo made overseas by child slave labor to be allowed to amuse the rich folk for short periods of time. Occasionally I stand next to an actual rock star for an hour, making music with him or her, listening to the roar of tens of thousands of fans. There are certainly moments when rock stars and I breathe the same rarefied air and eat at the same buffet in the backstage hostility suite. Mostly, I spend time entertaining drunks in bars or playing 4-hour functions like the Lipschitz Bar Mitzvah in Piscataway, New Jersey. This inevitably involves being yelled at by maitre d's with cheap toupees who view me as less qualified to be in their catering halls than their own dishwashers. Then there are the irate drunken bridesmaids and groomsmen who belligerently scream at us after the end of the contracted 4 hours. After spending all of that time miserably playing cover songs in a tux, they howl, "One more song! One more song!" You see, they treat us like rock stars. After passively ignoring us or actively scorning us for the first 3 hours of the function, they imagine that they can somehow appeal to our vanity by complimenting our musicianship, however slurred their verbal delivery may be by that time of the evening. Since we are but lowly, unwashed musicians, unable to recognize their shrewd manipulative tactics, they assume that we will continue to entertain them long into the night, ignoring our own contract. This doesn't even take into account the contract of the catering hall and the dozens of their employees desperately trying to clean and clear the room so that they can punch out and get home to their own miserable lives. These chants for encores take place under the watchful eye of the dagger-throwing stare of the toupeed maitre d', who is giving us the finger across the throat symbol. All of the contracts in the building at these functions contain provisions for overtime to be purchased in half-hour increments. This includes the band, the sound system, the lights, the food, the wait staff, and the hall itself. All someone needs to do to continue a party that is proceeding amazingly is to agree to write a check. A thumbs up from whomever is the benefactor or sponsor of the festivities can indeed extend the celebration in 30-minute blocks well into the wee hours. Money changes everything. As you can imagine, these extensions do happen, but seldom. Often this requires the band to pack our gear in the midst of an angry, drunken mob with varying levels of belligerence. The good feeling of receiving the rock star adulation turns ugly very quickly. The amount of time one is able to enjoy this adoration of the fans is roughly about 10 to 15 seconds. That's about the amount of time it takes for the cheers and applause to turn into chants for an encore, triggering the chain of events detailed above. When the extension generally doesn't materialize, nor does any explanation from the hosts, the cheers turn quickly to jeers, chiding the band for being party poopers. So yes, for those fleeting seconds, I am indeed a rock star.